Well, very quickly, let's take you to the National Assembly now, where there are still a number of seats yet to be declared in the House of Representatives, leaving an air of uncertainty, just like in Adamawa State, over the composition of the Green Chamber, while that of the Senate seems almost completed with just a handful of seats left to be declared by INEC. Arise correspondent Godfrey Eshemoge tells us more on what this means for the battle to elect presiding officers.
The 10th National Assembly is gradually taking shape, with the supplementary elections now over, and the All Progressives Congress (APC), as in the 9th National Assembly, has the majority seats and looks set to be the key deciders in the election of presiding officers, which is fast gathering steam, with the contestants already making their intentions known. The number of seats already declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) indicates that the governing APC has almost 60 seats, PDP with 36, Labour Party 8 seats, and the New Nigeria People's Party (NPP) and the Social Democratic Party all having 2 seats each, while the All Progressives Grand Alliance (ABGA) and Young Progressives Party (YPP) have 1 seat apiece. In the House of Representatives, there are 15 seats short of the 360 that make up the House of Representatives, with the electoral body INEC yet to announce winners, especially after Saturday's supplementary elections. There is still no clear explanation justifying INEC's delay in announcing all the results of elections for the House of Representatives seats following supplementary polls. Already, horse trading within the National Assembly has reached heightened levels, with the race for the presiding officers, that is, the Senate President and the Deputy Senate President, as well as that of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker, up for grabs. The narrative on zoning or no zoning has been re-echoing back and forth across the green and red chambers, with key political gladiators tidying up their strategies as the composition of the membership becomes clear. There are issues of region and religion at play, including who is likely to be anointed by the president-elect. But INEC's delay in announcing who has won or lost the remaining constituency seats at stake leaves an air of uncertainty, and that will most likely not help the spin doctors in their strategy towards securing votes to assume leadership in the National Assembly. Godfrey Eshemoge, Arise News.
All right, we have our Director of News and Politics Editor, Sumner Sambo, joining us now for more on this. Sumner, good to see you. Recall, Sulai, on Friday we had the INEC voter education boss here in the person of Festus Okoye, reassuring us that there will not be a supplementary to the supplementary election. But alas, here we are. Is it a failure to deliver on the part of INEC? What exactly do you think has gone on in Adamawa State with all that we've been hearing so far since Saturday?
Yeah, it's not just Adamawa State. That's the prominent one,
yes,
because it has to do with
exactly.
the second-tier system of government.
Yes.
That's the governorship. But you have some state constituencies and federal constituencies that are still outstanding, and we're asking ourselves the questions. This was meant to be a supplementary election, not the substantive election, and yet results are still yet to be declared. What exactly is going on is what the people of this country should be asking the INEC chairman and its national commissioners, including the resident electoral commissioner. Like I had said previously in one of our discussions, the way we recruit, the recruitment process of people into INEC needs to be rejigged, because people just work like civil servants. And that's why if you discover how INEC has been composed of, you discover that you bring outsiders alongside those who are in the system to deliver the elections. But even the outsiders that are being brought in, it was insiders that were brought in for the supplementary election. Yes,
purely
but
insiders.
What I'm even saying that for the Rex, they are outsiders.
Right.
They are not career members of the Electoral Commission, including the national commissioners, including the national chairman himself.
Absolutely.
And then you have the staff of the commission, and then you have ad hoc staff that are brought in. So it's a mixture of both the internal staff of INEC and people who are coming from outside. And this healthy mix is supposed to ensure that bureaucracy does not come into play to delay what we are having. But I can assume that it has to do with the logistics nightmare of organizing elections. And it looks like the country and those who govern that space, that electoral space, are not learning the lessons. We come
you're right.
We come every now and then and talk about logistics here and there, but it's you can see that even the National Assembly itself has not been playing that critical role of reassessing its supervisory role over INEC. Because things are happening and we are not hearing the explanation that is enough to convince people. And what is this leading to? Voter apathy. When you call elections next time around, you won't see people again.
But again, clearly, this has even gone beyond voter apathy. It has gone beyond logistics. Recall, we had you last week and we're talking about some of the key concerns of the people, the constituents. They were asking that some of these offices be taken off so that they can have a transparent, and more acceptable process. But here we are at the moment, for the first time in the political history of Nigeria, we're getting to see something that looks like a yo-yo, back and forth, no, and yes, and here we are. But again, Sumner, let's go back to how you started, the recruitment process and the integrity of people who are overseeing our electoral process. What does this say of what we've been dealing with in the past few weeks?
People are owing loyalties to those who appoint them rather than to the Nigerian nation. When these people all come in, they are screened by the National Assembly, they swear an oath to Nigeria, not to the president or to the governing party. But unfortunately, we are seeing things happening, including opposition parties who are actually being, who are influencing the electoral process, and people who are not doing what they are supposed to do to ensure that the integrity of the process is there. And you see, it's so painful that some of these people, when they appeared before the National Assembly, just last year, about 19 of these resident electoral commissioners were forwarded to the National Assembly. You know, there were the accusations that some of them were members of political parties here and there, but so many people didn't take it serious. When we see things happening,
and the timing too was an issue.
I mean, how could you have about a huge chunk of them, 19 of them, in fact, I think about 20 eventually, being brought into the system newly. And then you know that it is only the president that can fire the resident electoral commissioner, and he doesn't even have the power alone. He has to recommend to the National Assembly, because the National Assembly doesn't impeach only the president. It impeaches justices of the Supreme Court. It impeaches people who have been brought into, like, for example, Revenue Mobilization Commission, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, the National Population Commission, INEC. These are statutory bodies that before you can remove, it's easier for you to appoint them.
But remove them.
But to remove them it's very difficult because they will need Senate confirmation and all of that. So that's why when some of these people go and they think that they have secured tenure, they will do all sorts of things, all sorts of funny things. And because we do not have punitive measures that actually deal with these people, the system suffers. And you put a state in a quandary, like the way we are right now in Adamawa State, and even some of these federal constituencies, even the analysis on how to ensure that the National Assembly already has the full component so that the leadership recruitment process of the 10th Assembly will be put in place. It's been difficult right now because if you are doing calculation on who will emerge as Senate President, you still be doing plus or minus. Let's hope the APC will win this, or PDP will win this, or Labour Party will win this, and all of that. In the House of Rep, it's the same thing that's happening. But, this tells us that we need to really focus on INEC, rejig INEC as we're going into the 10th National Assembly. The National Assembly has its job cut out. Next time when they send resident electoral commissioners, the lawmakers need to screen them very, very well. Next time when we send our INEC chairman to the Senate for confirmation, we need to look, it's just like the presidential election. We need to focus on that person very well, screen the person very well, and that's why I am advocating that the power to appoint the Senate, the INEC chairman should be removed from the president
completely, and that's
like
part
the
of what
Ways
the
Committee had recommended.
Yeah, indeed. So, well, let's go back to the issue of the Adamawa rec, who apparently has wrecked the process there in Adamawa State. I recall that, the stakeholders actually called for his removal before the election.
Yeah, the PDP.
The PDP, But, of course, INEC insisted that he should stay. Now, it looks like they're now justified, by that call. Now, we're hearing that the INEC has threatened and, said to this Hudu Ari to stay away from the state office.
And it's because
does that even go far enough?
Yeah, I mean, they could have loved, maybe the INEC chairman would have loved to actually sanction him more. But he lacks the powers. Wow. The appointing authority here is President Muhammadu Buhari. He recommended this rec. And the 9th National Assembly, particularly the Senate, will share in the blame too. They were there. They screened this same fellow who is from Bauchi State, who appeared before them as a member of the National Institute, someone who happens to be a lawyer, and then you see all of these things that have happened. You wonder. That's why I said that people are all their loyalties to individuals rather than the state.
Has our democracy come to a head? I mean, this is a really sorry pass.
It has come full circle because the elite control of the system is suffocating the system.
But INEC isn't treating this as an emergency. I'm bringing this talk to you, Sumner, again, because now they're saying that they were supposed to meet and have an emergency meeting. But for the strike action by aviation workers, is that tenable? Seeing what COVID has done for us. Good. You can hold the meeting without the airport.
Yes. Apart from that, I suggested yesterday that we could use the Nigerian Air Force to fly him in and out.
Right.
Go to Yola. We have an airport there, military airport. I mean, an airport that's being used by the military. What does it take to go in there under whatever weather conditions? You know how the military pilots actually do that. Go in there and bring them here and then do whatever you need to do. But the most important thing is that the collation process should go on. INEC should learn how to use the digital technologies that they are introducing into the electoral process to use it to drive their meetings. Must they actually come here? The most important person there now is the collation officer, the state collation officer. And that's why I said it's like Ayoka Adebayo of 2009. When she just disappeared into thin air. Yes, during the Ekiti election, she said, you know, she didn't know people were threatening her and all of that, and she wouldn't want to do anything within her will. But eventually, the Inspector General of Police declared her wanted, and she came out of hiding, and she had to go and conclude that process. Because the INEC chairman can't conclude this process. The REC doesn't have, is the state collection officer alone that can do this.
Yeah. After concluding the process, was there any punitive measure put in place to ensure that it
Nothing. Many of them, both RECs and all of that, just only a very handful of them that the system actually dealt with.
Yeah.
But the reality is that our National Assembly needs to pay more attention to those that are brought in before them for screening to head institutions. Let's not just focus on the president or maybe National Assembly election or the governors. The people who head some of these strategic institutions are trying to build, you know, strong men in the institutions instead of the institutions that they were sent to go and build.
Absolutely.
And so something needs to happen.
We'll have to leave it there. More questions and answers. We'll find out exactly what needs to happen. Thank you very much, Sumner.